The Boston Red Sox are really coming together as a team and are breaking out in more ways than one. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. The Red Sox have officially beat the Brewers 2-3 in their series after pummeling them in the last game of their series yesterday afternoon. And the Red Sox are a little bit hot right now. They've won 3 series in a row, including this Milwaukee Brewers series. And in their last 10 games, they've won 7 out of those 10. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. And it really does feel like this Red Sox team is coming together and starting to break out a little bit. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break down this latest Red Sox series. We're going to talk about the highlights, what they did right, and the positives to take away from this series, as well as the things the Red Sox need to work on going forward. And we're also going to talk about how the Red Sox are coming together and what a breakout means for this Red Sox team. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. As always, it's natural to start with the offense first, and this video is titled Breaking Out, so there's only one person we could possibly start with, and that is Masataka Yoshida, who appears to be finding his rhythm at the plate. Because in this series, in one singular inning alone of the last game of this series, Masataka Yoshida had 2 home runs, including a grand slam that reached the second deck. Yes, you heard that right. In just one inning, Masataka Yoshida had 5 RBIs. But throughout the entire series, he was hitting really well. He ended up with 5 hits in the series, 7 RBIs throughout the entire series, and we've been talking a lot on this channel about how Masataka Yoshida's swing path has been off this season, right? He's been pulling the ball a lot, and he's been hitting a ton of ground balls. Well, in this series, it looks like his swing path has straightened out a little bit. He's starting to hit more towards the sweet spot of the ball as opposed to getting on top of every single ball, and we're seeing exactly the type of damage Masataka Yoshida can do. This gets me very, very excited for what Masataka Yoshida is going to look like over the next couple of months. If he could figure out his swing in April, we could have a really, really great season from Masataka Yoshida. Justin Turner also had a great series in this one as well. He had 5 hits, including a really crucial game-tying home run at the time. He probably should have had 2 home runs in this series. He missed one in the second game of this series late in the game. That would have been a home run in 25 ballparks. Again, this is another guy who we said, hey, look, the contact is there, the on-base is there. We need to start seeing power from Justin Turner. Well, that power breakout is starting to come through, and you're starting to see just how productive Justin Turner could be in this Red Sox lineup. Yu Chang also had a pretty good offensive series here. He only had 3 hits, but he did have a ton of contact and a home run as well. For a guy who we just simply aren't expecting much from at the plate, he's performing really well, at least power-wise, right? He already has 3 home runs this season, and one thing I do want to point out with Yu Chang is his defense has looked incredible. He's making this team look much better defensively. With him being at shortstop, this team looks much more put together. I'm sorry, Kike Hernandez, but it really does look like a different team when Yu Chang is at second base. Rafael Devers had a bit of a quiet series yet again, but for Rafi, a quiet series means only having 1 game where he hits a double and a monster home run. And yes, he's cooled off a bit, but he still leads the American League in home runs and is 4th in the American League in RBIs. Rafael Devers will be just fine. And speaking of defense, Rafael Devers right now is in the 98th percentile and outs above average at third base, meaning that only 2% of third basemen in Major League Baseball are better right now defensively than Rafael Devers. And he capped this series off with a fantastic double play in the last game of this series, just absolutely looking incredible at third base, which is something a lot of Red Sox fans never expected to say. Alex Verdugo keeps doing Alex Verdugo things. He had a ton of hard hit balls in this series that he kept getting robbed on, but he still managed to be productive with a couple of RBIs in this series. Jarren Duran remains on fire. He had 4 hits in 2 games as well as a stolen base, and again, he looks so much different this time around. It is a ton of fun to watch what Jarren Duran is doing at the plate and on the field for this Red Sox team. Is it sustainable over a long period of time? We will see, but he truly does look like an entirely different player. Kike Hernandez continues to stay hot at the plate, multiple doubles in this series, and there were RBIs all over this series. And that's exactly what this Red Sox team needed. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but we've been talking for a while, even before the season season started, that this lineup could be really deep, and it needs to be really deep for this team to be successful, right? At the beginning of the year, the very beginning of the year, we were seeing a lot of offense come from just a couple of guys. Over this little win streak here in terms of series wins, we're seeing production from all over the place, specifically the bottom half of this lineup, which has been struggling a ton. We're seeing the start of breakouts for Justin Turner, Kike Hernandez, Masataka Yoshida, and those are guys who at the beginning of the year were crucial to this Red Sox team. And now we're starting to see why, right? We're starting to see why Justin Turner's hitting third, why Masataka Yoshida could be hitting fourth, right? Why Kike Hernandez was so integral to this Red Sox lineup. This is exactly what this Red Sox team needs if it wants to break out and start a true win streak where they start to go on a bit of a tear here. They're going to need production from the guys who you don't normally get production from. Not that those guys are those guys, but I'm talking about guys like Connor Wong, who had RBIs in this series, Rob Refsnyder, who had an RBI in this series, Christian Arroyo, who finally had a hit in this series, right? Yu Chang, who doesn't hit a lot of baseballs, but when he does, they go over the fence, right? This is what we need to see from this Red Sox team. And at the end of the day, right, they just don't stop fighting. They have 4 come from behind wins when they're losing in the 7th inning or later, and this is a team that refuses to quit. And if anything else, they are just a ton of fun to watch. But overall, this Red Sox offense is truly coming into its own, and it is a ton of fun to watch. As for the starting pitching, Nick Pivetta had a pretty strong outing in this one. He ended up going 5 2/3 innings, allowing 3 earned runs on 7 hits with only 1 walk and 7 Ks. For whatever it's worth, the Red Sox are probably going to have to start the rotation crunch at some point soon here. They can't keep the 6-man going the entire season. Starting to see a little bit of the effects on the bullpen, which we'll talk about in a second. But in terms of Nick Pivetta, he's putting together exactly what he needed to do going into the season. That is give the Red Sox a ton of innings and allow the Red Sox an opportunity to win ball games, and so far he's doing that exactly. Garrett Whitlock did not look as strong in this one. He only managed to get through 4 innings, allowing 5 runs on 8 hits, but one thing that was really concerning to me was the fact that he only struck out 1 batter. Now, one big possible reason for this was, according to Tyler Milliken, that Garrett Whitlock only threw his slider 17% of the time, whereas against the Angels it was 31% of the time, and that's where he was getting most of his swing and miss put out pitches on, right? He was getting a ton of strikeouts on that slider. If Garrett Whitlock wants to be successful, he's going to have to use that slider more. He can't be a changeup sinker type pitcher, or players are going to start to figure him out quickly. Hopefully that's something he adjusts to as we go forward here. Again, we're only 3 starts in here. It's not time to raise the red flag on Garrett Whitlock, just something to keep an eye on. Brayan Bello looked much better in this start than he did in his last start. Although this start wasn't exactly fantastic, he ended up going 4 2/3 inning, allowing 3 runs on 5 hits with 2 walks that both came in the first inning and 3 strikeouts. Again, not a great start, but he is trending in the right direction. Brayan Bello is a guy who has all of the stuff there, right? He just kind of needs to put it together, and he's still so young. I have absolutely no concern over Brayan Bello. As for the bullpen, the guys who normally show up in this Red Sox bullpen dominated. Between Josh Winkowski, Kenley Jansen, John Schreiber, and Cutter Crawford, only 1 run was allowed between all of them, and that was off of John Schreiber in the last innings of the last game, where it really didn't matter if he gave up a run or 2. Overall, those guys have continued to show up and put games away for this Red Sox team. The bullpen has been one of the biggest highlights of this Red Sox team so far. One of the biggest surprises for me in terms of the bullpen was Richard Bleier, who in this series pitched 2 2/3 shutdown innings. He did not allow a single hit in those 2 1/3 innings, and he struck out 3 guys. This was exactly what the Red Sox have wanted from Richard Bleier. He was throwing a ton of strikes, only 1 batter walked, and he was getting a ton of weak contact as well. Obviously, Richard Bleier got off to a bit of a slow start in 2023, but we're starting to see him come down to earth a little bit and hopefully be that reliable lefty in this Red Sox bullpen that the Red Sox have kind of been missing for the first couple weeks of the season. Now, the only guy who really didn't have that strong of an outing in this series was Caleb Ort. He came in for 1 inning in a very crucial situation for the Red Sox. He walked 3 batters and let up 1 run, and this is what I'm talking about, where it's kind of hard to sustain a 6-man rotation, right? You're at the point where if you use John Schreiber, Kenley, Cutter, or Winkowski in 1 game, you're stuck in the last game of the series, and that's what we've been starting to see a little bit, where these guys like Caleb Ort or Ryan Brazier come into really tight and difficult situations where normally you'd have a more strong reliever in. So the Red Sox are probably going to have to make a decision in terms of starting pitching over the next couple of days to hopefully try and shore up that Red Sox bullpen. But overall, pitching wise, one of the things that we need to see for this Red Sox team to truly come together, really break out, I'm talking talking win streak, right, where they don't lose a game for a certain period of time, is consistency. We need to see consistency from this starting pitching staff. And I'm not talking about every pitcher on this staff having to be absolutely perfect, but we need to start seeing more quality starts out of these Red Sox starters if the Red Sox want to start winning consistently over a longer period of time. The Red Sox offense has fought back a ton, but you can't expect them to do that every single time. We're going to need the starters to really start to step it up here if the Red Sox want to continue this winning streak. All in all, throughout this series, it was absolutely fantastic, right? The Red Sox offense is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. You're starting to see this offense come together and become a legitimate force. Again, they were third in runs in all of Major League Baseball before the rest of the team started showing up. This Red Sox offense could be dominant if the players in this Red Sox lineup continue to keep growing and getting better every single series. As for the pitching, again, the bullpen has been one of the brightest spots on this Red Sox team and probably will be continuing going forward. If Kenley Jansen can keep up what he's doing, we could be in for a really, really fun season. All that's left to put the pieces together to truly start dominating on a more regular basis is consistency with the starting pitching. But that's just my opinion. So in the comment section down below, let me know what you thought about the Red Sox starting to break out here, winning 3 series in a row, seeing a lot of offensive performances that we have not seen yet this year. Let me know all your thoughts on the Red Sox beating the Brewers 2-3 in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.